There's no denying that a semi-automatic service pistol has a ton of advantages, and it may be the ultimate fighting handgun. Service automatics have made great strides in the last 20 years. I'm an unabashed Glockaholic. As you look at the guns that I use, the pistols that I use, the vast preponderance of them are Glocks. The reliability of the service pistol has gone up tremendously. The brands I named, H&K, SIG, Beretta, Glock, all those guns that they're making are very reliable compared to what you could get 40 years ago or 30 years ago. I'm a Glock guy, and I don't mind admitting it. I've shot 5,000 rounds in a row through a Glock 17, never cleaned it, never had a malfunction, never had it break. So to me, that clinched the deal right there. The other advantage the service pistol has over a pocket pistol or a pocket revolver or even a service revolver is it's very easy to reload. When this thing runs dry, all you do is drop the magazine, out comes the magazine, stick another magazine in, pull the slide back, bang, you're ready to go, okay? There's no revolver that you can reload. Maybe if you're Jerry McCulloch, you can do it, but for mere mortals, there's no revolver that can be reloaded as fast as the semi-automatic pistol. The reloading speed is off the hook, and that's a huge advantage in gunfighting. Service pistols also hold more ammunition than pocket pistols, hideouts, and service revolvers. They almost all hold, even the 45s hold 7 shots and 8 with one in the chamber. So there's 8 shots, and Glocks hold 17 rounds on up. And you can get huge magazines for those Glocks. I'm gonna have Robert run in and bring me one of those 32 round magazines, Robert. This is a huge advantage to have this in a Glock. Look at, that's not too bulky. 32 rounds, actually 33 with one in the chamber, okay? That's a lot of firepower. I'll probably demonstrate that in a minute. So they can hold a lot of ammunition, and you can store a lot of ammunition easily on your belt. When I'm in Africa, I usually carry a Glock depending on where I'm going, what the situation is. If it's really hairy, I'll carry my Glock 17L with 3 32 round magazines to back it up. So that's a lot of firepower. That's a lot of shots at my disposal very quickly. And to me, that can make all the difference. The service pistols, compared to other handguns, have very little disadvantages, and they might be your best bet. This is why you're seeing a lot of pressure against them, a lot of pressure against high-capacity magazines. You know why? They're flippin' effective. They're awesome. They give you tremendous advantages. I've got in my pack 100 rounds of 300 Winchester Magnum. It's Hornady's rounds, 180 grain rounds, and they're heavy. I'm also wearing almost 500 rounds of 9mm in all these 32 round Glock magazines. Now that's something else I want to talk about. When you're fighting with a bolt gun, your slow rate of fire and your slow reload time is an enormous disadvantage. You've got to have something else to suppress people with and keep them from overrunning you if your gun goes dry or you're fighting your way to cover. You may get stuck out here, and you may have to engage somebody, and you're gonna throw up your gun, and I'm not gonna shoot, and you're gonna go, bang, work the bolt, bang, work the bolt, bang, and then you're gonna have to sling it all the way over, settle it, draw your pistol, and take him out, and run, and run, and run, okay? You may have to move. Now I went really slow. If someone's shooting at me, I'll be moving a lot faster than that, I promise you. The main thing about this pistol though is when you're transitioning from one position to the other, or you're running to cover, you have something to fire back with. You just don't sling your rifle and go, holy Jesus, please save me. Yes, praying is a good idea, don't get me wrong, but it's sure like, and I'm gonna fire here, it's sure nice to be able to go as I'm moving. That's a comfort also. You carry prodigious amounts of ammunition, not just a little bit, not 2 magazines. A lot of people see 2 magazines is good enough. Well, if you're fighting with a bolt gun, it's not good enough. The other advantage of your service pistol is that not only does it come quite often with a high capacity magazine, but you can get even higher capacity magazines for it. I'm really fond of these Glocks, and one of the reasons is that 32 round magazine that's available. I don't know about you, but that's a lot of firepower. 1, 2, 3 hits that were so-so, but the rest of them, those things were bad to the bone. You can rocket a lot of lead downrange at light speed with a 32 round magazine and a 17L Glock. Over a long period of shooting, you may find that a service pistol is even more reliable than a revolver. I mean, 5,000 rounds through a Glock 17, and it didn't jam, and it didn't break, and it didn't malfunction in any way. It just kept on trucking, I didn't clean it. That's reliable. I think about extreme situations sometimes when I have to shoot to stop somebody from killing me. Maybe they're ahead of me in the draw stroke, maybe they're already pointing the gun at me, and I need to get rounds downrange to wreck their mindset and to interdict their movement and their motion and their firing capacity. I want to like wreck their world. I want to shock them. I want to rattle them, okay? And one of the best ways to do this, to practice this, is to start shooting just as soon as you clear the holster. As that muzzle clears, I'm firing. Just like that. Walking those rounds right into them. As you clear the muzzle, as it comes out, right here, your hand meets it, bang, 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 as you bring it up, okay? Shooting the center line is the best way to stop an adversary bent on taking your life or your loved one's lives. That's where all the vital zones are, so you want to shoot that imaginary line that goes from the crotch right to the top of the head. I'm going to put a fresh magazine in. And there's lots of ways to practice this. Since I shoot these 2x4s a lot, or 1x1s, you could get used 2x4s or salvage 2x4s. When you start out, I always say turn them flat. As you progress, turn them edge in, step back, well, I don't know, 10 feet or so. Where you're comfortable, some people are worried about the splinters and stuff. You move back to distance that makes you comfortable. I've never experienced any problems shooting 2x4s as long as you take the nails out. When you could do that, move over to the edge. Well, you can see I did pretty decent. Came in here and clipped them all in through here, those few shots. And look at the ripping it does on that 2x4 when you graze it. If you're engaged here, you got a semi-automatic pistol. You see him start to go, you start running. And you just zip him like that. Hit him every time, okay? You got to learn how to shoot on the move. You got to learn how to change your position. Always be ready to move. The first thing I'm going to do is step, shoot, like that. Now I want to demonstrate shooting some semi-automatic pistols. Some of my viewers at home don't get to see all these different pistols, and I know when I was much younger and couldn't afford all this stuff, I would have loved to have seen this, and I know lots of my customers and friends around the world don't get to try all these pistols, so I want to go through some of them. The first one I want to shoot is this Glock 26. I call this a shorty. It's got a very abbreviated grip, and obviously a shortened magazine. It holds 10 rounds in the magazine, and it's barely a service pistol. You could also say it's a pocket pistol. It'll go either way. I've got one also in 10 millimeter, and it's slightly bigger. But this is, you know, you can get them with, take other magazines. I'll take a Glock 19 magazine as well. And it's a little bit harder to hold on to. I'll put my earplugs in. But this is something to consider as a second gun or a third gun. If you're going to be a Glockaholic like I am, you might carry a 17L and a 19 and a 26. So you got small, medium, and large. 3 ways to go, and they all shoot the same caliber ammunition. So that's an advantage. Let's give him a headache. No one wants to take 10 of those in the head. I promise you that. Let's go up in size a little bit to the 19. Again, it's got a slightly smaller grip than a 17, but bigger than the 26. There's a little shorty. I can get all 3 fingers on it. My trigger finger there, I can get a decent grip. It's maybe on the small side almost for a service pistol, but it makes a great second and third pistol. I think I'll rock those bowling pins with this. That's really handily done, easy to do, shoots really easily, very little recoil. A great little automatic pistol. Now I want to shoot my favorite, which is the Glock 17. Of all the semi-automatic pistols, this is the ones I have most time and grade in. I can't tell you how many tens of thousands of rounds of 9mm I've fired through these different 17s. That was a lot of fun. Now let's go up the force continuum to this 40 caliber Smith & Wesson Glock. It's a long slide, and always the key with these long slides is you've got to hold them extra tight. You've got a heavier slide and barrel out there, and it has to have lots to push against to feed correctly. Very easy to control. Not hardly any recoil. Lots of power downrange, really flat shooting. You can shoot like that plate up there on the hillside. You can reach out and touch targets at long distances. That's a good 40 yards up there, maybe 45. You can smack people and animals at enormous ranges with this 40 caliber Smith & Wesson Glock. Now let's try this 10mm. Ted Nugent's favorite pistol. One of my favorites. The 10mm is, in my opinion, is way underappreciated. I mean, some people say they can't handle the recoil. They just need to practice more. You need to work up to it. You know, there's no free lunch in fighting. Whether you're fighting with your hands or a knife or a sword or a firearm, no free lunch. You got to put the time in and the hours in, and you've got to practice. You've got to pay your dues. Really drives those bullets hard. Semi-automatic pistols are a great choice for self-defense. They have a lot of advantages over service revolvers and other handguns, and they may be your very best choice. I'm going to show my Model 17L now in action. I'm going to be drawn from the holster just like I do every Sunday afternoon on Metal Man. Three quick hits across the chest with a 9mm. It'll stuff up just about anybody. got a Glock and a 32 round magazine and you got extras, you can afford to use suppressive, probing, and ripping fire. I want to practice shooting multiple targets now. This is a drill for a real self-defense situation. I'm about 5 yards away from the first target. The last pin's about 15 yards. Another thing, if you're going to be a gunfighter, if you're going to be a pistolero, you're going to use your service pistol. The best advantage is you need to be able to hit targets at extended ranges. I watch a lot of shooting contests today, and I really admire those guys, and I know that they're much better shooters than I am, and I can't, lift the latch off their sandal, so to speak. But I still think that we need to do a lot more practice shooting at longer ranges, because sometimes you want to put the advantages of your service pistol to use at long range. Most people can't hit you past 30 feet or so. If you can shoot at 60 feet, 90 feet, 120 feet, you'll have a huge advantage over most people in gunfight. This is a Glock 17L. It's got the 6-inch barrel. Glock doesn't make this anymore. Once in a while they make a short run of them. This is one of my favorite 9mm with 150 grain plus P plus ammo. That's 115 grain plus P plus ammo. It's just shy of a 4-inch 357 Magnum and muzzle velocity. And one of the reasons I like the 9mm so well is you can get it all over the world, and it's about the most inexpensive centerfire round you can shoot. And that's important to me because I shoot vast quantities of ammunition, and I have to keep economy in mind, and 9mm does it. Now, a lot of people say that it doesn't have the stopping power of a 45, but it's got tremendous penetration. I personally have shot right through the sides of cows, from one end out the other end, behind the shoulders with a 9mm. I'm going to go for Metal Man at 200 yards. So you can see out there that I put quite a few hits on that Metal Man at 200 yards. No one can hide in the open from you if you can shoot well and you've got a Glock 17L. No one can hide. The .40 caliber Smith & Wesson cartridge has become very popular in the United States and around the world. It has good speed and shoots a fairly heavy bullet and has good expansion. A lot of departments are going to it. Our Ventura County Sheriff's Department uses it, and they're really happy with it. I'm going to shoot mine today at 200 yards at our Metal Man. And again, the reason I'm doing this is to show the potential of the caliber in the gun. Again, I think this proves that practice, a good pistol like a Glock, and some good ammunition, and you can bring somebody under fire and imperil them at 200 yards pretty easily. Now I'd like to demonstrate the potential of the 10mm. I've got a 10mm Glock, the Model 20 here. It's one of my favorite pistols. I'm shooting Hornady's 180 grain bullets at 1180 feet per second. The late Chuck Carwin said that a fully loaded 10mm Glock was the most powerful handgun in the world because of the amount of rounds it held in the magazine and their speed and bullet weight. And that shot, I hit him in the head, where I want to hit him. Just a few shots, and I made good hits on target with a 10mm. If someone's out in the open and you've got a 10mm Glock, they're in a world of hurt if you're well practiced with your service pistol. I really want to encourage you to find the service pistols that you like. If you find one that you like really well, like I like a Glock 17 or a 17L, buy as many as you can afford. Buy 2 or 3. Buy one for every person in your family. Buy some spares. Buy lots of magazines and vast quantities of ammunition. I absolutely guarantee you, never in your life will you regret doing that.